Joining me today is David Seymour. He's a member of Parliament of the New Zealand Parliament since 2014 and has been working in policy analysis in Canada and New Zealand for the last 10 years. David, welcome to Universidad Francisco Marroquín. I understand you came to Guatemala for the Antigua Forum. Can you tell us a bit about the experience?
Yes, well, thank you very much for having me, and what a beautiful university campus you have, set in the hills with these wonderful buildings. It's really nice to be a guest here in Guatemala. The main reason I came here, as you say, was to attend the Antigua Forum over in Antigua City, and it was also a nice experience. I guess one of the best things is that there are those of us around the world who are interested in better public policy. We believe that when public policy improves, people's lives get better. And so it's always nice to be in a place gathering with people that have similar beliefs that you can share and reinforce each other with.
As you say, you were with a group of professionals that have similar ideas, but as we know, these ideas may not be mainstream in a lot of parts of the world. And I guess New Zealand is not an exception. So can you let us know how, as a libertarian politician, what your experience has been? What are the main obstacles for these ideas?
Well, I think we should be very optimistic. We are winning. There's never been a time in history when free trade has been more accepted, when democracy has been more widespread, when the rights of women, minorities, people of different sexualities have been more widely accepted across the world. We have more religious freedom than ever before. So before we worry about the difficulties, let's just stop for a minute and remember that we are doing better than at any other time in history. Free markets are winning, and I think that we should be very pleased about that. However, there's still much work to be done, and one of the things that I'm passionately committed to is improving the regulatory culture. My party believes that we need to get better at regulating as a society. There are too many regulations that are there just to impose one person's or one small group of persons' beliefs or interests on a whole wider group of people. Classic example, right now we're having a battle over Uber. The taxi service is coming in, disrupting, and you've got the incumbents trying to disrupt that. I believe that we should be protective of real property rights, but we should not be protecting legislated privileges. And also about education. We need to ensure that if you agree the state should spend money on education, and I think that's actually a fairly reasonable thing. F.A. Hayek, for instance, believed that the state should fund education. Then we should make sure that the provision of education is as entrepreneurial and competitive as possible. We need a wide range of creative and innovative people entering the education sector to ensure that our kids get the very best education that our society can produce.
Talking about education, I heard before you have a project of charter schools in New Zealand. I would like to go more in depth into that. How is it working, and what are the charter schools about?
Well, what we've done is we've said New Zealand has a very good education system. We've been ranked 4th to 7th in the world, depending on the year. However, the system is not working well for some groups. For poorer New Zealanders, New Zealanders with special educational needs, Maori and Pacific Island ethnic minorities are not doing as well as mainstream students. And we've decided that maybe what we need to do is introduce a wider range of more innovative options to help the students that the government would most like to help. So partnership schools, as we call our charter schools, are a type of school where you could apply to operate a school in New Zealand. You have to show that you have a good idea and that your school will be different and that you'll be able to attract students and educate them. And if you succeed in getting through this process of authorization, then you can open your school and the state will fund you at the same rate as we fund schools for lower income New Zealanders in the public system. So it gives you an opportunity to introduce innovative education and then operate with accountability for results, but not a lot of interference in the way that you get those results. So this is the opportunity that we're presenting to people who want to set up schools, and in particular students who want to go along to a school that will engage them in ways different from the way they've been engaged at schools in the past, and in such a way that they will be able to get skills, qualifications, ultimately get a job, turn it into a career, and just feel good about themselves. That's ultimately what all of this policy, we talk about these philosophies and principles, but it's ultimately about creating an environment in which people can feel good about themselves. And we hope that partnership schools will introduce some more freedom and flexibility, with the ultimate result of kids who might have otherwise failed and been very distressed by not doing well at school. It will allow them to feel good about themselves.
And how is the general population accepting these charter schools?
There's a range of reactions. The teacher unions have spent an enormous amount of money and time and effort trying to undermine them. But the truth is slowly coming out. People that visit the schools see that the people operating them are frankly heroic. They work very hard. They do amazing things, and they see kids feeling good about themselves. If you go to these partnership schools, what you see is kids that have a really strong self-esteem because they believe that they've been engaged and they are achieving things. So as more and more people visit the schools, the tone becomes more positive, and a lot of the things the teacher unions have said turns out not to be true. They tell us that charter schools in the United States have failed. As more and more evidence comes out, that's not the case. So opinion is slowly turning in favor of the policy.
Finally, what are you taking back from Universidad Francisco Marroquín and from Antigua Forum back home and back to New Zealand?
One of the interesting things I noticed on this trip is that the challenges that we face in public policy around the world are remarkably similar. So you talk to people from Nepal who are trying to improve their education system, and what they find is that there are vested interests who do everything they can to stop the improvements occurring. Talking to someone from South Africa, exactly the same problem there. Wherever you go in the world, you seem to have the same public policy challenges. And yet, all of us together who believe in a freer society and believe that public policy should be guided by good economic principles. There are many of us. We're very positive people. We have a lot to share with each other. And I think that we've got to the stage where there are enough of us that we have turned the corner, we have enough momentum, we're unstoppable, and we are building a freer world which is better for absolutely everybody.
David, in the name of the Universidad Francisco Marroquín, thank you for being here and thank you for these interesting opinions.
Well, thank you very much.